Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to be doing another live gameplay commentary. Once again, Evan Cole was really kind and let me use some of the live games that he recorded off of his channel to do my commentary on. So Evan, once again, thank you. I'll make sure to link his channel down below. But today it's going to be a MewTric versus LBS matchup. Now, I haven't watched this before, so I think this is going to be interesting. Personally, I feel like lists play a huge part in this. I feel like Jason Klaczynski's MewTric deck is a little bit dated for the format. I think you really need to go with more of a Cursed Stone approach, just due to how many power decks are in the format and how Disconnect only does 40 damage per turn. I think partnering MewTric with Lunatone, Soul Rock, and then the Cursed Stone goes a long way in helping a lot of different matchups. This was recorded a while back, so I'm assuming this is probably Jason's MewTric list. And then as far as the LBS list, I feel like that's continued to adapt over time. I feel like the gold standard for LBS continues to grow. And I don't know if I'd say there is really truly a set list for it right now. Generally speaking, a lot of the better lists right now will play a higher count of Hole-on Mentor, so that might be something that comes to me impartial. They rely pretty heavily on that Hole-in Mentor and then the Hole-in's cast form count. So generally speaking, if I was the LBS player, I'd be looking to get MewTric online as quickly as possible, and then make sure that I'm just using Disconnect every single turn. If he plays, if they play Cursed Stone and Lunatone Soul Rock, I think you're gonna be a little bit better off. You're gonna be getting a lot of chip damage on things like Pidgeot and Blastoise EX. However, if you don't, it's going to be a little bit trickier, and you're going to want to rely more on your speed. As that LBS player, I'm going to be looking to set up Blastoise as quickly as possible, Pidgeot, and then just trying to overwhelm my opponent. Lugia EX can be very good in this matchup. Latias Star can be very good in this matchup. I think the real MVP of this entire matchup is going to be Steelix Prime, though. It can be very hard for MewTric to take down and put a lot of pressure on the opponent very quickly. So let's just see how it plays out. It looks like both players got about their best starts. The LBS player going first is even another advantage. Being able to get that first energy drop down before the MewTric player is really able to do a whole lot. MewTric player does get their ideal start as well, having that first turn electric. They're going to be able to recharge. Looks like we got a dual ball coming down. I think you can make arguments for doing dual ball in this deck, and I think you can make arguments for doing the Hole-on Transceiver, Hole-on Mentor engine as well. Now, this is all real cards. This is absolutely beautiful. Now, then when the Mew EX makes sense, I also saw the Mewtwo Delta in here. I'm assuming they played that over the Deoxys EX. Probably a little bit safer. Doesn't fall to like Cursed Stone or Desert Ruins or anything like that. So, yeah, they're just going to use that turn 1 recharge. Reverse Hollow Battle Frontier as well. It's absolutely beautiful MewTric deck. Play that TV Reporter. Alright. Discards the Mewtwo. Knows they're not going to need in this matchup. LBS isn't going to play any sort of they're not going to play any sort of safeguard. Goes ahead, plays down the Battle Frontier. I think this is a little bit dangerous because it's going to give the LBS player a chance to play those counter stadiums right at the start of the game. Hopefully balance that Battle Frontier. It'll be a little bit trickier. The MewTric player is going to need to either have a second one or be able to find one. If I had a second Battle Frontier, I think it's perfectly fine to throw it down. If I didn't, I would probably hold it. Oh no. This is just horrible. The LBS player looks like they passed their entire turn. This might just be a quick turn 2 game here. We do see a Rayquaza Star. Yeah, we got just a quick turn 2 game there. That is so unfortunate. Oh, that is so unfortunate. But I also think that's one of the main reasons you really have to try to max, your Transceiver and your Mentor count when you're playing LBS. You got to get those good starts. It's such a slow deck for this format. You got to be able to really get some good starts going. Looks like we're going to shuffle up and play a second game here, though, so hopefully the second game is a little bit better. All right, and we're back with the second game here. Hopefully this one's going to be a little bit better. Open Squirtle. Honestly, I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like I would almost rather open with the Latias. But I guess regardless, you're probably going to try to retreat that into... you're probably just going to try to retreat that into like a Jirachi or something. So, dual ball, heads, tails. Looks like the LBS player went first. Wasn't able to get anything. So just passed it right over to the MewTric player. MewTric's getting another just perfect start here. It's going to get that turn 1 recharge. I do think there's some arguments to play one of like the other Electrics, the one that like shuts off powers with the coin flip and stuff like that. But generally speaking, the recharge Electric is just the best Electric. Okay. The advantage that LBS has is that Mew EX is psychic, so it's not going to do that double damage to the Squirtle. That could be really rough. Okay, so this time we do get the first turn Hold On Mentor. But at the same time, too, I think that's also something that you see with the LBS deck, or the MewTric deck playing that dual ball, where if they were playing like the Transceiver or Mentor engine, and I think there's pros and cons to both, they would have been able to get a Giraffe Rig as well, and then that would have shut off any Jirachi options. So who's going to get Jirachi, Magnemite? I think he's holding Pidgey and Latias, so the last one's probably going to be Onyx. I really like Onyx here, or a second Squirtle. You'd also make an argument for like Cast Form or something. Oh, looks like he plays the Blissey EX in this. Yeah, that could be interesting, but if the MewTric player is not playing Lunatone Solrock, and if they're not playing the dual ball engine, if they're playing the dual ball engine, they're probably not playing Lunatone Solrock. Yeah, they're probably gonna have a Battle Frontier in play, so that Blissey's not gonna get a whole lot of space or a whole lot of distance out of it. I think the Blissey can be useful, but generally you play Blissey for Rock Lock, and I think if you wanted to play something to counter Rock Lock, I actually think you play the Latios combo over it, because that also shuts off things like Pidgeot Delta and Houndoom, and has generally the same effect in that matchup. Ironically, it could actually be better in that matchup. Okay, so yeah, he gets the Onyx. They don't play Stump. I don't think there's any reason to hold the Latias. I would actually want to play that down. That's actually something pretty solid to bring up. Probably grab Transceiver here. You're not going to get items the majority of the game. Even if you just Transceiver and turn around and use it to grab Adventurer, I think you play the Transceiver here. Yeah, this is going to get real interesting if they get that turn 2 disconnect. Don't really have anything they can do. There's really not a point in... There's a slight argument to play the Space Center down right now, just in case they do play Lunatone Solrock, and then you just realize it's going to be dead a majority of the game, so you kind of want to play it down, but just so you don't constantly draw it off of admin. Yep, debating the Retriever right now. I think you play your items. You're not going to get many chances to do it this game. All right, they have the Elms. Yep. That was a very good Retriever on the LBS's part. Very heads-up play there. Yeah, check everything. I think mainly you want to see if you have any Manectric's Prize, and then you want to check your, like Holin's Magneton, Holin's Electrode counts, things like that as well. But yeah, Probably get an energy under it. You can just set up nice and slow here, no rush. Just gonna disconnect. And this is where things get really hard. The LBS really wants to wake up here. Okay, that was actually a pretty big flip. Having access to that Jirachi is actually really good. Really good. For him. In 2006, there's no like Crystal Beach or anything like that. The list looks similar to Jason, so he probably doesn't play energy removal 2 or anything like that, which I think can all cause some headaches. Yeah, this is weird. I think you actually you can value the energy here, which I think is totally fine. And actually see what he grabbed. On some level, I do think you actually value basic water energies kind of highly because you probably only play 6 to 8. I think most LBS decks now play 7. Personally, I think I'd be going the Steelix route. I think that's just going to be your best case scenario. Latias EX would be your other, I'm going to say, best case scenario. I really do think you bench it. You don't want to draw it later on. Yep. He's going the Steelix route. Oh, that is just so bad holding that Rare Candy Blastoise not being able to do anything. The one advantage that the LBS player has is MewTric is just kind of slow. And he's really not putting a ton of pressure on him. He's going to get a little bit of advantage to, not advantage, but he has a little bit of time to set that Steelix up. And if the MewTric player tries to actually come in and, like, Mega Shot the Onyx, then that's when the rare candies and everything start going crazy. I just don't think you can ever break the disconnect lock in this matchup. And if you get the disconnect going before they actually get the Blastoise up, then you are setting really, really, really good. The general strategy for MewTric, if they do get set up, is you kind of just trade back and forth, let the prizes get low. And then when they're at like 1 or 2 cards, you flick poison the Blastoise with a Battle Frontier in play, and then you add them to like 1 or 2 cards. If they're not hitting a switch or a counter stadium out of just the small number of cards, then they're done. If you can get and keep that Blastoise in play, you probably just win the game. All right, 2 quick prizes from the MewTric player. Nothing too crazy here. Probably send up the Pidgey, probably the least valuable in this case. Oh no, that transceiver we took a couple of turns ago for the LBS player, I think he held it. That is so rough. Okay, let's see. Yeah, he's just got some. They just got some dead cards in there. I mean, the thing is, though, is like, I really do feel like the LBS player, if they can get going, they can just straight win the game. Because like the LBS player like is never out of it. Now at this point, if I was the MewTric player, I'm gonna retreat to the MewTric EX. There's no way I'm gonna give them that extra turn. I'm just gonna take the quick knockout on Pidgey. Interesting enough, and this is something I think worth mentioning, is even though Marriage Request is legal in this format, Jason played, I think, 4 TV Reporter and 1 Marries in his Worlds list. And his argument was there's a lot of cards in this matchup that he doesn't want to draw off late game admin. So actually having the discard was more beneficial to him than not having the discards. Yeah, and this is, I would say, the first play I really disagree with from the MewTric player. I would just have retreated into the MewTric and one-shotted the Pidgey. There is no way they can get a counter response on the following turn. No way they would have knocked anything out. I also think Rayquaza Star could be very good in this matchup. I also think it's a little gimmicky. I probably would have just tried to set up another Manectric here. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that Chansey. It's not going to do anything for you. That Battle Frontier is not going to go anywhere. Jirachi's fine. Jirachi might even be needed. And then the Celebi, I think, is really solid, too. Yeah, just that Chansey. The only real reason to play the Chansey, I think, would be to get the Blissey out of your hand for a better, like, Hole-in Scientist. And then I think the Blissey EX has an attack. I don't remember what it is, though. It's one colorless, and it does something. It's like, maybe it's search your discard pile for up to 3 energy and attach it to Blissey or something like that. But that's just so hard to pull off. Okay. Yeah, going multiple Manectric here is good. He's doing exactly, or they're doing exactly what they want to do. They just want to keep getting multiple, set up multiple Manectrics, just thin their deck out. You know, you don't need to do anything crazy as a MewTric player. Just keep disrupting your opponent and just keep just getting Manectrics in play. The other thing is I don't really like that energy under the Rayquaza Star, and they probably didn't have a better place to place it. The issue is you're not going to put 4 energy under a Rayquaza Star. Best case scenario, you're going to have 3 under a Mew, and then you're always going to be threatening that Holy Light or Holy Star, whatever the name is. Yep, so down to 3 prizes. Realistically, you're going to Mega Shot something, and you're going to take a knockout on it. So the Jirachi and Latias, you'd have to get them all out of range. So the Jirachi and the Latias are going to be 2 guaranteed prizes at some point in this game. So they only realistically have to take 1 more actual prize. And that Celebi, I think the realization is coming. They want to play it down. But at the same time, too, if they bench that Celebi, it is just 2 free prizes. Yeah, realistically, all MewTric has to do is take 1 more prize. And they probably just win the game. I would even make sure I'm setting up for it and throwing an energy under the Manectric EX. Yeah, that's a little odd. I guess you got to start putting pressure on him. You'd think Wartortle would be the play there, especially with Blastoise in hand. Metal Charge really isn't going to get you anywhere. So another Manectric. Yep, this is all good. This is all fine. Really would not be throwing the energy under the Rayquaza Stars. Like, it's just not going to get you anywhere. I guess you make the argument at this point that it's a guaranteed knockout on the Celebi and a guaranteed 2 prizes, but I just don't see it. Yeah, I just don't see it. Yeah, I guess maybe it's okay, because I think the argument is you think they're going to retreat the Jirachi into the Steelix. They'll Metal Charge you, putting themselves at 10, you disconnect them up to 50, and then on the following turn you just Rayquaza Star for 4 prizes. The counter argument is that they would come in and then just knock out the Rayquaza Star. At the same time, too, though, that's not an EX, and you're at that point playing a 7-prize game, so maybe you're happy with that. Yeah, I just feel like the LBS player is so far ahead. Hole-in Farmer is an interesting choice. You don't see that a whole lot. Missing the energy there was also very unfortunate. Does have the War Turtle. Okay. So yeah, this is I don't know if this game is winnable at this point. Because I think to win this game, they're just gonna have to yeah. No, I don't know if I like that. I think you have to respect the Bliss EX and keep the Battle Frontier in play. I like the energy though. I think the energy is solid. The admin I think is okay. I'm not a huge fan of it here, but the idea, I guess the logic is you're not really, you just got to find one more energy. I don't know. Most LBS players are going to probably run 2 admin. We saw a VS Seeker in their hand, so we're going to assume it's probably 2 admin and a VS Seeker. Yeah, I think you have to respect the Blissey to some extent. Oh, they got 4 prizes left. Okay. I thought they had 3. Whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, I think there might be a little bit of miscommunication there. Because I think I think they only got 2 prizes left, and I think he drew 4 cards off the admin. I think all you have to do there is disconnect, and then on the following turn, just snipe it with the Manectric. Snipe the Celebi with the Manectric. I don't even think I care. Like, I think you're so far ahead, I don't even think you care about the Blastoise EX at this point. You basically just make sure that Blissey doesn't go off, and you're fine. And to be fair, I was kind of knocking the hole-on Farmer earlier, but there's definitely uses for it. In matchups like this, being able to send your War Turtle back in and things like that can be really, 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 really strong, sending a Blastoise line back. I just don't even know what the game plan here is, though. Okay. Probably grab the Blissey here. Yeah, grab the Blissey. Yeah, attach up to 3 energy cards from your discard pile to Blissey EX. Not going to be super useful here, but... So basically, you can remove all damage counters from the blissful support is basically remove all damage counters from your Pokemon, and then the Pokemon you remove damage counters from, you discard all the energy on them. Jason Klaczynski had kind of like a fun drag throw list where he played Blissey in it. And I think relied a little bit more heavily like on Dark Dragonite to just kind of tank it. Okay, so Sends up the Steelix. I don't know if I'd Blissey there, though. I don't think there's a whole lot of incentive to. Yeah, I don't think you have any incentive to actually Blissey there. I think you just retreat the Jirachi. Jirachi's going to go down. The 10 damage on the Jirachi, unless they actually like flick poison it, isn't going to matter. I would have waited till the Steelix EX took some damage. So unless I'm missing something, I think you just Holin's Electrode and then you knock out the Celebi. Unless I really did miscount those prizes. Maybe he does have 3 prizes left. It just doesn't make sense you would do it any differently. Yeah, the admin's a little surprising here. Oh, no. The Holin's, yeah. The Holin's Electrode is probably fine. Because what's going to happen is he's going to disconnect, put him at 100, or put him at 50, and then he can Rayquaza Star in the following turn for 2 prizes. Or 4 prizes. The downside is, though, I don't think that Rayquaza is going to make it. Okay. Yeah, if they've got 3 prizes left, this whole line of play is making a little bit more sense. Because they can just disconnect the... They can just disconnect with the Cursed Stone in play till they win at this point. Probably start putting some energy under the Mew to ideally get the damage a little bit higher, a little bit faster. So the Rocket Admin here is really good. I think, yeah, you're going to fry the Rayquaza, which you have to do. You don't have a choice to do as far as the LBS player. But I think the advantage of that for the MewTric player is that instantly your opponent is playing a 7-prize game, which is really, really, really good for you. But it looks like the LBS player is just completely giving up on playing the Blastoise EX. Yep. Quasi goes down, takes a prize. That Cursed Stone damage is just gonna keep eating up here. So, yeah, I guess ironically, you don't really even have to deal with the Steelix. All you really do is just disconnect until the Jirachi gets knocked out. And then you just Mega Shot something. That Metal Resistance is going to come in big here because Metal Charge is only going to do 40. And then the Mudslide's only going to do a 70. Not having the energy there is really rough. Didn't they have a supporter in their hands? I thought I saw a Scott or something. Maybe that was before the admin. That must have been before the admin. Yeah, just too many cards. The admin, yep. That LBS player just wants to play Giant Stump so badly. As long as the MewTric player does not stop disconnecting, I think they win. Ironically, though, the LBS player could actually put themselves in a situation where, like, the MewTric player doesn't find energy, and they can just win based off of that. Because their deck is actually pretty thick right now. Okay, that was a good 3 cards, though. Found the cast form. That's all good. Yeah, you just can't stop disconnecting here. Yeah, that Metal Resistance is just such a problem. I think you just set up the next. Yeah, I think the game plan, I would have ditched the Mew. I don't think that's ever gonna. You're never gonna play another Mewtwo. So they are going the Mew route. That's fine. I think I'd value the metal resistance a little bit more highly than what they are, but it shouldn't make a big difference. Because I don't think knocking out the Steelix is ever going to be your game plan. I think it's just wait till the Celebi's knocked out, then knock out the Latias on the bench. Yep. LBS players doing what the best job they can, just trying to get those MewTrics out of there as quickly as possible. They've got the giant stump. They want to play it. They know it's game winning. They just can't do it. Okay. I actually don't hate that play. I don't know if I'll say it was the best play. It certainly wasn't a bad play, though. I think there is a world where they miss the energy drop. And then the MewTric EX. And they can't disconnect. I think you just take that. You can make arguments for both. I think knocking out the MewTric and just hoping they miss the energy drop and you get a turn with items is your best case scenario in winning this game. But yeah, because you just lose to an energy right now. Yeah. So, MewTric is just going to be able to, yeah, here, we'll go and let it play out. It's just going to be able to Mega Shot anything on the bench. The Latias, it could have also taken 2 prizes off that Bliss EX. I think it is a tough matchup. I really think it's a tough matchup for LBS. I think it's winnable, but it's incredibly, incredibly difficult. And what we saw in these 2 games is the LBS player was just never able to really stick a Blastoise EX. And you basically have to get a Blastoise in play and just overwhelm them. I think that second game, really, I think they had the right strategy going aggressive with the Steelix EX and everything like that. But I think not having that Blastoise and not being able to stick that Blastoise, you really saw how that hurt them. I think if they were able to just string like 2 or 3 mudslides together a couple turns in a row, I think they could have won that game. But you just can't do that without having that Blastoise EX. So it was a pretty well played game by both players. I think it really came down to the lists and the matchups, and I think generally this matchup is just always going to favor the MewTric player. They played it very well. They were able to get the turn 2 MewTrics as quickly as possible. You did see them threaten with the Rayquaza Star, which I think was a very interesting tactic because they basically forced the LBS player, who didn't have time at all, to then take a turn to knock out the Rayquaza Star and then play a 7 prize game, because that Rayquaza prize didn't even matter. You had the MewTric player did put some investment into it because they basically spent a Lightning Energy, a Holen's Electrode, and then 3 turns of energy attachments on it. But the prize itself never even mattered because they were gonna force them to play a 7 prize game. So to kind of see that and see how that played out was a really good play by the MewTric player's part. But yeah, I think the matchup just favors MewTric, and you saw it play out in this game here. But very well played by both players. Once again, thank you to Evan for letting me use his video here, and we'll make sure to link his channel down below. I hope you enjoyed the live gameplay. It's always easier to film like the TCG1 videos because I can do those much quicker and they're a lot easier to film. But I think the live gameplay videos are always a little bit more exciting, so I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next video.